$2 million in the first few years, and it was not that. It was like almost zero with his viral coefficient was the word for that.
Right. Yeah, because that was supposed to help make it take off by everyone wanting to do the social networking and share their portfolios, but that didn't work. One thing we also didn't mention that he didn't do well was he didn't put enough time into the design of the product. That's what customers see first, and if it doesn't look good or doesn't have good usability, they're not going to be as interested or not give it the time of day. So
yeah, and that's probably what doomed it, in my opinion, because the more usable friendly it is, the more people are going to use it, like you said, and it just attracts new people. If you can navigate well, you're going to tell your friends about it, and then I feel like you'd be more prone to actually publish some of your financial data online. But if you don't feel comfortable with it, you're not going to go out of your way to put valuable things out there.
yeah, agreed.
And another thing I thought he could have done to test that was making, like we said already, test groups, but maybe like social groups. For example, your family members or a group of close friends that you already talk investments with, make a closed group. Instead of seeing everybody's financials, you just see your closed group. That way you can, I mean, when we go out to dinner with my parents and their friends, sometimes they'll talk about their investments. So it could be that same sort of thing. Just, this is what we're investing in, this is how it's doing, but all through that platform.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. Does anybody have any other thoughts on that?
Nope.
Okay.
What do you think that would have changed?
What was that?
Like all this, like what could it have done for him? He could have had a prepackaged, like ready to go user-centered product that would have been successful? Or do you think it would have been the same result, like just maybe have gotten him there faster, like selling out to a big company?
I feel like it would have done a lot more for him because he even went to like, what is it, TechCrunch 40 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if their site was more ready for things like that competition and whatnot, they would have had, like, although they did get tens of thousands of users just from the buzz created through TechCrunch 40, Mint.com, who won that competition, and they were also like, I even use Mint today, but they were sold like I think a year earlier to Intuit. So I feel like it would have pushed them like that one step further that they needed to be able to create more of a buzz about sharing your investments.
Good point.
Cool. So should we move on to the next case then?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So I'm just going to read this. It says, was the VC industry attractive for a 16Z to enter in 2009? What was the competition like at the time? What was the typical fate of the new entrants in this industry? Why was this so? What are the trends in VC fund performance during this time? So from what I gathered, there's only a few big players in the VC industry, and they captured about 95% of all the profits. So I think from a business-minded entity, I think it was a great industry to enter. But at the same time, the competition's so fierce, and that's what you learn about new entrants, is that when there's such big incumbents or like the giants of the industry, they'll almost always get smashed. They'll always get wrecked because they just don't have all the resources to allocate to different areas to keep the business alive.
Yeah, and the industry was in a period of consolidation, so it's not a good time usually to enter the market.
No, because just like we talked about a little bit earlier, it was like that same time as getting out of the recession where a lot of people aren't worried about investing in different things and whatnot because they're trying to just
Focus on that.
find where their money is because it was such a hard time for the country.
Yeah, there's definitely an accounted downturn in like the exhibits. I had noticed there was like over 1,000 in like 2002, and then dipped like closer to 800. Just VC firms in existence.
Mm-hmm.
So it just started to, but there was more money in it too. So like just probably inflation and stuff. It was tough. It was a tough market to enter for sure. Had a tough time.
I didn't feel like the way that they ran things was like incredibly different, that it would like disrupt the market where everybody would be like, oh, we can go with these guys because it's like a easier way for us to figure things out. I mean, they did use like networking to try and figure out how to consolidate things for people to make that a little bit easier. But for the most part, like they were focused on things that are very similar to the way that VCs were run before.
I think that was the big thing of why they were successful, though, is that they were offering their services in a much different way than anyone ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously there had been some venture capitalists that did it well, but others that didn't do it as well. They wanted to change things from how the company was originally being run, rather than just providing the support and all the networks and all the tools that they would need.
Yeah, they had a disruptive idea. And it worked for them.
I feel like they did appeal more to younger people though, because of the way that they did run things. Like they looked for people. I can't remember where it said it, but they used a lot of like people who dropped out of college because it helped them to, or how they saw it was, these people are dropping out of college to start something. They're focused more on their future than they are the preparation part for the future. They feel like they can just go out and do stuff. And they like the mindset of that because they're not people who are just sitting around going through the steps, going through the motions to get through different things in their lives. But these college dropouts that were going out to like start stuff. I mean, that's like how Bill Gates made all his money. He didn't finish school. He saw an idea and he dropped out of school and went for it. And so having that mindset did help helped them a lot because they were focused a lot with just people who wanted to get stuff done.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because it talks about he looked for people who are like jack of all trades partners,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted them to, be very, very successful in their own field. But like you said, if they had a different goal than college, then why not hire them where they can provide that advice and bring
True.
And that was another cool thing like about that is that no other VC firm had even tried to do anything like that. Because first of all, yeah, VCs and they were hiring the very best out of college. And here you have this new company who they're changing everything about it. They have larger teams, and like we said, they're just so diverse. I feel like any company that they could bring on, they would have somebody that could somewhat match up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone could have been in banking, someone could have been in, like any one of these fields, and I feel like they could have had that like initial connection with that investor, and so they would be able to bring on more clients and get more investments that could probably help them in the future.
Agreed. So let's move on, because I do have to leave at 9:30 for work. But
Let's do this then.
so
Okay.
I feel like we've touched a little bit on the rest of number one.
Yeah.
So number two.
Me too.
How does their business model influence the abilities of source pick win compared to other firms? How this change if they begin to fire CEOs because they're not performing well?
Okay, my notes on this were that like traditionally the VCs would source through networking and then pick by numbers, and then they just kind of sit back and wait for money to come or not. And then, how do you say it? What, A16Z? Is that the name of our?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. They would source deals. From what I gathered, it was like they just look at the industry leading firms. So like that like less than 5% of the industry that was making like 95% of the money.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd look at the deals they were making that and then use those as like a benchmark for if and when A16Z would pick deals. And then they would track them along the way as milestones in growth, and then like gather reports from them or require reports from them so that they could make sure that company is doing well.
Yeah, they said they had very picky criteria.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's actually hard to find enough companies to invest in.
So that I think led to their success for sure, was being picky like that.
Definitely. And it said, like, how will this change if they start to fire CEOs because of not performing well? And I think with their picky criteria, I don't think that's going to happen very often, if ever. Obviously, if someone isn't doing the job well, they need to not be in the position. But I think they kind of vet that out before taking them on. So I don't know that will happen very often. But I'm not. What do you guys have any thoughts on if that'll affect them?
I think it makes it better if you're not having a ton of transitory like CEOs and stuff. And I think a lot of the times they picked founding CEOs, right? Or founders.
Well, they just let them stay. The founder, that was part of their mentality for how they ran their investment company.
Mm-hmm.
Was they wanted them to keep running their company, and they picked people that were good at it.
So because of that, they had people that were really committed to it, and so that keeps it on the regular a little bit better, and they I don't know, it just seems smart.
I agree.
Okay.
So
The operating team. I don't remember too much on the operating team. Does anyone remember?
I can't either.
Which one are you on? Which number?
Well,
The third bullet.
I would say they help them win because they help provide all the networks and sources that the companies need to succeed, so that they have everything at their disposal. Well, they have the help they need to be successful, to fill the holes in their management.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just found the section. The operating team was all inclusive for like technical talent, executive talent, marketing, market development, and it looks like corporate development. So it was like it included all that. So just like Shayla said, they filled all the gaps.
Okay. All right, so number 3, put yourself in the shoes of Andreessen and Horowitz. You must decide whether or not to seek to double your assets under management. Vote as a group. The decision must be unanimous. Consider the following as you decide. How many portfolio companies can one reasonably support? Are there any economies of scale in this business? And will you have to hire more operating team people? If so, will the partners actually make more money for doubling their assets, or will all the additional profits go to hiring more people? So should they seek to double their assets or not?
What is everyone's vote? I vote yes.
I do too. I feel it's important for them to continue to grow.
I feel that it's important for them to grow, but I think it'll be tougher to find companies that meet all of their criteria. Because they're trying to look for like the best companies that have the best payout.
Best of the best.
So they might have to like either lower their standards and be fine with a little bit more failure, or just have to like we talked about is increasing their operating team so that way they can have more people looking for business opportunities. So I'm okay with growing the business. I just think some things are going to have to change.
So you do think that they would have to hire new people if they were to do it?
Personally, I think so.
Yeah, I think there would be some economies of scale, but they would still need to hire. If they were going to double it, they would still need to hire some more people.
Yeah. Or they'll have to come up with a software that sifts through different companies.
Mm-hmm. Meets their standards.
Yeah.
How about,
exactly.
Is it Dimitri? Is that your name?
Yeah,
What do you think? Do you think they should double their assets?
I think they should double. They have all sources to do it. And I think the most important that they have an absolutely different approach and different mission and culture, and that is very effective and efficient than traditional ones. And anyway, they will have to hire more people if they will expand their business to other regions, for example, to China or any country.
Mhm. Agreed.
Those are good points.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that they should expand geographically rather than, because I think they're part of the economies of scale is staying with the technology companies
Hmm.
because they're already doing that so well that they could just expand geographically. And I think that way they could find more because they're only in the Silicon Valley right now. I think they could find more companies as they expand in that direction. Do you guys agree that they should expand geographically?
Yes,
Like you said?
Yeah.
that would be smart.
Maybe find like another hub because Silicon Valley's people come to them. So maybe find different hubs where these technology companies are going there. So maybe, I don't know, Salt Lake's a good place, New York City, Hong Kong, just some of those big areas that attract ventures like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so the two questions we were supposed to answer are what should Stephen Carpenter have done differently that might have led to a successful venture and give specific actions and expected results? That's the first question we're supposed to answer for our assignment.
I was trying to make notes on this when we were up there. So like what I've got so far in the Google Doc is that like he assumed that product virality would be better, but it was almost zero. He needed to base his assumption on tested facts instead. And so like what you guys said was like bring in social groups. I had send out mailers, etc. I can't remember if there's anything else said on that. And then if we like specific actions and expected results, we were talking about if the site was more ready or like his product was more ready for the TechCrunch 40, and if he had one instead of Mint, it could have created more buzz about the investment sharing idea.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's what we're looking to answer that question with. What do you guys feel about that?
I agree.
Cool.
I think along with that, it just said if he would have been ready to pivot his product based on his test results, that would have helped it to be successful because he had a good product idea, it just needed to be tweaked.
Okay.
And he also had a good way to build, he built it well as well.
Yeah.
We just answered the second one. about if they should double assets.
So Camden, did you start recording this then?
Yeah, so
So after we're done, is it just one of us that needs to put up the link? Do you know?
yeah, so it downloads it to my computer. So just anytime we meet, I'll just take care of posting that because you have to get it up on YouTube, so it's somewhere that he can access it.
Okay.
So I'll get him on YouTube and take care of that whole posting part every week.
And just one of us needs to post that, or do we all need to have that link turned in? Do you know?
I think
Pretty
just
sure it's just one.
yeah.
I think there was something on there too about putting a timestamp for when we started talking about the what portion of it.
At the end of the meeting, time to give a summary of your votes and final decisions. So it's just to talk over those last two questions.
Okay.
So I'll make sure to give him a timestamp on there.
Okay.
We moved on to that. Does anybody else have anything to add before we end this?
We have a few people needing to get going.
We'll just finish the write-up part real quick.
Yeah, we also
Good to
have
go.
we need to submit that, don't we?
Yeah, it needs to be submitted by Saturday night.
Okay.
All right. Should we just work on this then, and we're good?
Yes, I will.
Okay.